Page 30, Vive la France, France, whatever. At the top of the page, they're introducing you to a thing we use in music called a key signature. The key signature is simply telling you what key you're in. We need to know what key we're in so we know what black keys to use, what notes to use. In the past, you didn't know it. You've had a key signature all along, but you couldn't see it because it was empty. And that's C major. All white keys. So all these pieces prior to this, for the most part, were in C major. I didn't talk about it because it's hard to talk about something you can't see. You see, the key signature goes at the beginning of the staff, right after the clef signs, before the time signature. Where the numbers are, it goes in front of the numbers. So look on Vive la France here. At the beginning, you see the sharps in the stabs, both stabs. That's the key signature. Well, all this is telling you is that all F's in the piece are automatically going to be F sharp instead of F. That's all. This way they don't have to go through and put a sharp sign in front of every F throughout the piece. They could just put it at the beginning of the line, in the key signature, and that's it. I think what they want you to do is they want you to draw the other sharp signs at the beginning of all these other stabs. Because normally you'd find the key signature at the beginning of each line. Now in some band music I've found they don't do that. They'll give you the key signature at the beginning and that's it. You have to remember what key you're in, and that's hard for me. Sometimes I forget what key I'm in and then I have to go find it to look it up. I'd much rather have the key signature printed at the beginning of each line. Now where that sharp sign goes is important because it must go where an F would go. So if you look at the top staff, that sharp sign is on the top line. Well, that if a note were on that line, that's an F up here. So that's where the sharp sign goes. That tells you F is sharped. All F's. Not just any F, all F's. Now there's another, at the bottom space is an F2. And they could have put it there, but whoever designed this back in the beginning, whenever, they chose that line and it actually works out well having that line. So we need it up high. So yeah, it's here. And you'll see why we need it up high later on. When we add more sharps, they tend to get lower on the staff. Well, on the bottom staff, it is on the F. Remember the F clef and the dots? I told you that line, it's F. Well, that's where the sharp sign is. So it's telling you all F's in that clef and that staff are sharp. See, both staves have to have their own sets of symbols. You can't use symbols in one staff and apply it to another staff. You might be playing the stuff in the staves at the same time, but the notation is independent. So both staffs have to have a sharp sign in there. And that's key signatures. So one of the things we look at now at the beginning of a piece when we're starting to learn it is the key signature. We have to add that to our list. So with Vive la France, it's like, okay, it's 3/4 time. Key signature is G major, 1 sharp. All F's are sharped. And we look it over and I see a bunch of quarter notes and dotted half notes and no repeat sign or nothing. Okay, that's good enough to start. So let's do this one hand at a time. Starting with the right hand, 5th finger's on that G, way up here. That is a G. I'm assuming you know the names of these notes in the music. If you don't, please go back and start the book again and go through it and drill yourself on the names of the notes. It's really important. That note is a G. You got 3 of those, and then F sharp because of the key signature. And the dotted half note, remember, gets 3 counts. It's the same as 3 quarter notes. Now it's a thumb, look out, and they want you to cross over 3rd finger. Really, it's a G major scale. If you take each measure here, the first note in each measure. The first measure is here, and the next one is and then an E and a D and then a C. It's a G major scale going down. Is that cool or what? So we're using that fingering here. So in the second line is thumb, and then cross over. Top of page 31. You can get this, I hope. Now let's go to the second line, the last couple measures you're here. You get a 1 beat rest. They tell you to move. They shouldn't need to. You look at the music and tell you how to move, because the first note in the next line, you want a G, 5th finger, you got to come up here. You just lift up during the rest and come up here. And then we're back to that scale again. That's the right hand. Left hand, well, you're starting out here, so in this position. So it's and all of these are going to get 3 counts because they're all dotted half notes. Second line, you have an F sharp D. Remember the F sharp, it's in the key signature. And then you get quarter notes, top of page 31. So forth. Left hand's not moving around. Let's go down to the last line. On page 31, it's a chord, a G chord. Like so. Put the hands together here at the beginning. We're interested in the notes, the fingering, and the rhythm. Getting all that right. So you hit the first line here, and then go on. Top of page 31. This is a tricky part because now you're using different fingers in the hands at the same time. You hear? Like so. You keep doing that. Go down to the last line. You're up here. When you can get that on, get rid of the hesitation so the beat is steady. Doesn't matter how fast you go as slow as you gotta go. Then we go back and we add the articulation. The slurs and the staccatos and things. At the beginning, just play everything as legato as you can here. Just connect everything. You can't connect repeated notes. Do the best you can. But when you get to the end of the line, lift up in the right. We want silence. We want like taking a breath here. So don't connect the D and the C in the right hand. The left hand, I'll leave it up to you if you connect it or don't. It's easier to do the same as the right hand's doing. But I would prefer, if you can, connect the left hand. So you lift up in the right. Like so. That's good practice for later on when we got to do things, because we need to develop this independence of the hands to be able to do different things in the hands at the same time. So this is one of those things I would encourage you to do, is lift up in the right hand but not the left. It's like here in the left hand I have to lift up for the chords, but I'm connecting the right hand. And then you have slurs over on page 31. Now let's go to the last line. On page 31, you're up here. Slur this together. And then staccatos. Short staccatos. Nice light finger staccato or whatever. You can flex at the wrist if you'd rather it. Like so. Then we add the dynamics. Well, at the beginning, there's an F there. For forte, that means loud. That's the melody. So you'll have to decide what loud is. It's not really loud, it's just loud. Keep the left hand soft. Then you have that arrow at the end of the first line to come down a little bit. So it's just means the last note is going to be a little softer. And then you're moderately loud. Second line, sort of loud. The arrow at the end of the line to get softer. That's the melody. It's soft. The left hand has to be very soft. We want to hear that melody. At the top of page 31, the melody's in the right hand. It's soft. The left hand has to be very soft if you can. And you've got an arrow to go up to moderately loud, but don't get moderately loud, sort of loud, to the last measure. So take your time on that. Just a little louder, now moderately soft. There, that's moderately loud right there on that note. Then you get a rest, you come back down, it's soft again. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to back up to moderately loud. Now you're loud for the last line. And you're the retardando there and an arrow. You're going to slow down and get softer down to soft. So you just slow the speed down a little bit and get softer. This is the right hand we're talking about. The left hand has to be background, so keep it down. Once you get all that, then you can think about the speed. This is a happy song. They give you an idea. It's up to you on how fast you go, but it has to be accurate. That's more important. I don't want to play it for you. I don't want you copying me on it. Just you do it. Just do what the music is telling you to do. So you go ahead and learn it, and when you're ready, come back and do the play with me. And we'll go real slow. This is to check the notes and the rhythms. Not going to do any dynamics. Just notes and rhythms. I'll give us 3 counts because it's in 3/4 time. 1, ready, go. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, rest. 2, rest. 1, 2, 3, off. There's a duet part at the bottom. I'd like to play that, and you play what you just played, but we're going to go a little faster. I also need you to move up on the keyboard an octave. So you just pretend middle C goes up here to this C, and you play it all up here. So instead of here, you're up here. Assuming your keyboard's long enough, you got all those notes. If not, you got to play it where it's written. So I'll give us 3 counts. Now remember, this duet part is different. So you have your part, the duet part is all different than yours. So I'm playing different notes at different times. So you have to concentrate on what you're doing, don't get lost. But you have to listen to what I'm doing so we stay together, because I can't stay with you, I can't hear you. You have to follow me on this. See, normally whoever has the melodies should be in control, and then everybody else who's playing would follow them. But we can't do that in this case. So I'll give us 3 counts and let's try it together, slowly. 1, ready, go.